The nursery rhyme went silent halfway through the first verse. Then the screaming started. Sunlight streamed through the classroom windows, illuminating dust motes dancing in the air as a chorus of young voices sang, "Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder." A piercing, high-pitched screech, like nails dragged across the face of the universe, tore through the air, instantly silencing the children. Then came the explosions, dull thuds at first, quickly escalating into earth-shattering roars. The classroom windows, moments before framing a serene blue sky, shattered inward, spraying shards of glass and twisted metal. The attack was focused, deliberate. Even through the chaos, the intent was sickeningly clear. The children. Intercepted transmissions, garbled and fragmented, screamed through the comm channels. Target primary school. Nursery cluster 7. Eliminate. Erase. The words dissolved into static, but the meaning was unmistakable. Across the planet, Earth's planetary defense shields, once thought impenetrable, buckled and failed. Cities erupted in flames, skyscrapers crumbled into dust, and the air filled with the acrid stench of burning metal and incinerated flesh. Civilian casualties soared into the millions within minutes. The scale of the attack was overwhelming, a coordinated assault of unprecedented ferocity. On the bridge of the flagship Dauntless, Admiral Adam Thompson watched the carnage unfold on the panoramic view screen. His face, etched with years of command and countless battles, remained impassive, but his knuckles were white as he squeezed the armrests of his command chair. Not again, he thought, the memory of another attack, another loss searing his mind. Not on my watch. He closed his eyes for a fleeting second, the image of his own children, their laughter echoing in his memory, fueling his determination. They will pay. Launch the Death Fleet, Thompson ordered, his voice a low growl that cut through the cacophony of alarms and panicked reports. All ships, maximum warp. Pursue the attackers. Issue a galaxy-wide alert. This is not a drill. Earth's primary offensive force, a swarm of heavily armed cruisers and destroyers, tore through the atmosphere, their engines leaving trails of fire across the ravaged sky. Initial scans painted a grim picture. The attackers were using an unknown form of energy weapon, something that bypassed conventional shielding as if it weren't even there. Their ships were fast, incredibly fast and difficult to track, their energy signatures fluctuating erratically. They seemed to flicker in and out of existence, like ghosts in the void. "Admiral," a young ensign reported, his voice trembling, "the enemy ships are heading towards Prilorian space near the galactic rim." A brief flashback flickered through Thompson's mind. His children playing in the park, their faces bright with joy, then the blinding flash, the searing heat, the nothingness that followed. He pushed the memory aside, focusing on the present. He couldn't save them then, but he could avenge them now. "Intelligence reports are coming in, sir," another officer announced. The attackers have never been seen before. No known species match their ship designs or weapon signatures. We're running facial recognition on nothing. It's like they don't exist. Thompson leaned forward, his eyes narrowed. "Authorize a full investigation into the attackers' motives and origins. I want every sensor array focused on those ships. Find out what they are, where they come from, and what they want. Identify any potential weaknesses. Leave no stone unturned." A message arrived on the main view screen, its sender identified as the Prilorian Council. The alien script translated into a cold, formal greeting. "The Prilorian Council expresses its deepest concern regarding the recent attacks on Earth. We assure you that we have no involvement in these unfortunate events." Thompson snorted. Concern, they know more than they're letting on. He turned to his communications officer. "Signal the Death Fleet. Intercept and maintain pursuit into Prilorian space. I want a full battle group around the Dauntless. We're going hunting and I don't want any surprises." Thompson stared out into the starfield, his face grim, his eyes reflecting the burning fires of Earth. The hunt had begun. He would not rest, he would not sleep, he would not falter until those responsible were brought to justice. He thought about his lost children, their innocent faces forever etched in his memory. "This time," he whispered, his voice barely audible above the hum of the engines, "I won't fail you." The Dauntless pierced the shimmering veil of Prylorian space, its blunt, utilitarian design a stark contrast to the elegant, flowing lines of the defense ships that immediately surrounded it. Their hulls, polished to a mirror sheen, reflected the Dauntless back at itself, a crude reminder of Earth's intrusion. "Prylorian Defense Grid, this is Admiral Adam Thompson of the Earth Defense Fleet. We request immediate audience with the Prylorian Council." Thompson's voice, amplified and translated, echoed across the void. A long silence followed, broken only by the hum of the Dauntless engines. Finally, a modulated voice responded, infused with thinly veiled disdain. "Earth vessel, you are in violation of Prylorian sovereign space. State your purpose." The coordinated attacks on Earth's colonies originated in this sector. "We seek information and cooperation in identifying and neutralizing the threat," Thompson replied, his tone unwavering. "I demand a meeting with the Council." Another pause, this one even longer, stretched the tension taut. Inside the Dauntless bridge, officers shifted uneasily. "Admiral," Commander Reyes murmured, "they're stalling." Hours bled into an agonizing near day. Finally, the Prylorian voice crackled back to life. "The Council has deigned to grant you a limited audience. You will power down all weapons and submit to a security scan. A single representative will be permitted to travel to the Council citadel." Thompson gritted his teeth. Acknowledged. He knew Earth's political sway held only so much weight this far from home. The Prylorians, ancient and technologically superior, tolerated humanity more than respected it. The Council citadel was a symphony of light and crystal, a testament to Prylorian artistry. The counselors themselves were even more alien. Tall and slender, with skin that shimmered like polished obsidian, they regarded Thompson with cool indifference. Their eyes, large and multifaceted, seemed to see through him, dissecting his every thought and intention. "Admiral Thompson," the lead counselor intoned, its voice a melodic drone, "you requested this audience. State your concerns." Thompson presented the evidence: fragmented sensor readings, intercepted transmissions, the horrifying images of the attacks on Earth's colonies. The counselors listened in silence, their expressions unchanging. "These are unfortunate occurrences," the lead counselor conceded, "but we have detected no such activity within Prylorian space. Your attackers are unknown to us." "The attacks originated near the galactic rim within your territory," Thompson countered, his voice tight with controlled frustration. "I need your assistance in tracking them. Your claims are based on conjecture and flawed data," another counselor interjected, its voice sharper. "We cannot divert resources to chase shadows based on human paranoia." They offered a token gesture access to a low-level data archive, but it felt like a deliberate attempt to placate him without providing any real help. "I require access to your sensor data," Thompson insisted, his patience wearing thin. "Specifically, any anomalies detected near the galactic rim in the past cycle." The counselors exchanged glances. "Such data is classified," the lead counselor said smoothly. "However, we will grant you limited access to a lower-level archive. Counselor Juno will be assigned to assist you." A figure detached itself from the shadows. Juno. Unlike the other counselors, her skin was a muted gray and her movements lacked their effortless grace. An ostracized scientist, rumored to harbor radical theories and an even more radical temperament. Juno approached Thompson, her expression guarded. "Admiral Thompson," she said, her voice devoid of warmth, "I have been instructed to assist you." "Counselor Juno," Thompson replied, carefully masking his surprise. He'd heard whispers about her controversial research into energy signatures beyond Prylorian comprehension. "I must confess, Admiral," Juno continued, her multifaceted eyes fixed on him. I find your claims dubious. Prilorian technology is far superior. Had there been a threat, we would have detected it. They entered the data archive, a vast chamber filled with shimmering consoles and intricate holographic displays. Juno moved with a practiced ease, her fingers dancing across the controls. She pulled up a series of sensor readings, displaying them on a large screen. These are routine scans of the galactic rim, she explained, her voice tinged with condescension. As you can see, there is nothing of interest. Thompson studied the data, his brow furrowed. What about these energy spikes? He asked, pointing to a series of faint anomalies near the edge of the display. Juno dismissed them with a wave of her hand. Solar flares, insignificant fluctuations. The Council deemed them irrelevant. These spikes correlate with the attacker's movements, Thompson insisted. I need to analyze their energy signature. Juno hesitated. The data is corrupted, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. It would be difficult to decode. Why is it corrupted? Thompson asked, his eyes narrowing. Juno avoided his gaze. The Council deemed the data sensitive. It was sanitized. Sanitized, intentionally corrupted. Thompson's voice rose. Why? Juno remained silent for a long moment, then sighed. My research. It suggested the existence of energies beyond our current understanding. The Council disapproved. They ordered the data suppressed. And you're afraid to help me because of that, Thompson stated, understanding dawning. Juno's shoulders slumped. I value my position, Admiral. Further ostracism would be detrimental. Thompson met her gaze, his eyes filled with a quiet intensity. I can offer you Earth's resources, Counselor, the chance to continue your research unhindered. Help me now and you'll have access to technology and data beyond your wildest dreams. Juno considered his offer, her internal conflict evident in her shifting gaze. Finally, she nodded. Very well, Admiral, I will assist you. But be warned, the Council will not approve of this collaboration. As Juno began to work, her fingers flying across the console, she uncovered layer upon layer of encryption. The data corruption was far more extensive than she had initially thought, but as she delved deeper, she discovered something else, a hidden layer within the energy signature itself. A form of exotic energy, unlike anything she had ever encountered. This is extraordinary, she breathed, her voice filled with a mixture of awe and fear. This energy, it's beyond our current understanding. The decoded data revealed a repeating pattern within the energy signature, a subtle oscillation that hinted at a technological weakness. But it also revealed something far more disturbing. The energy itself was incredibly dangerous, volatile, and hungry. Juno cursed in rapid Prilorian, her slender fingers dancing across the holographic interface. Sparks spat from a junction box near her elbow, the acrid smell of ozone filling the small lab. Damn it, Thompson, this data. It's fragmented, corrupted beyond what I thought possible. It's like trying to assemble a shattered vase with half the pieces missing. Thompson leaned closer, the blue light of the display reflecting in his weary eyes. Can you isolate the core algorithms, the attack patterns? I'm trying, but the energy signature, it's unlike anything I've ever encountered. It's wrong, like a tear in the fabric of reality. Juno paused, her brow furrowed. It resonates with something ancient. Something I haven't thought about since I was a child. It might be related to a forgotten Prilorian experiment. What kind of experiment? Thompson asked, his voice sharpening. Theoretical, dangerous, the kind the Council prefers to bury. Thompson straightened. I want everything you've got on that experiment, now, and have my team start digging through historical Prilorian archives. I want any connection to this energy signature, no matter how tenuous. He turned to his comms officer, a young woman named Davies. Davies, prioritize Prilorian records. Focus on classified projects, energy weapons, anything remotely relevant. Hours blurred into a frantic race against time. The lab became a chaotic mess of data streams, holographic projections, and discarded energy packs. As they pieced together the fragmented information, a chilling realization dawned on them. They're not just destroying, Juno whispered, her voice trembling. They're erasing. Look at the residual energy patterns. It's like the matter never existed at all. Thompson stared at the data, his face grim. He saw it now, the subtle anomalies, the telltale signs of complete annihilation. They're not trying to conquer territory. They're trying to erase something, specific memories, knowledge, a culture perhaps. Juno shook her head, her eyes wide with disbelief. There's an old Prilorian myth, a weapon capable of erasing memories. The Mind Eater, they called it, but it's just a story, a cautionary tale. Maybe, Thompson said, but I don't believe in coincidences. Davies, check Prilorian legends, myths. Anything about memory manipulation. Davies' voice crackled over the comms. Admiral, I've got something. A highly classified Prilorian project called Mnemosyne. It explored memory manipulation technology. Juno gasped. Mnemosyne? That was supposed to have been completely shut down centuries ago. Why? Thompson pressed. Because it was too dangerous, too unpredictable. The Council deemed it too risky to pursue. It was a dead end, Thompson. A Pandora's box best left unopened. But it wasn't, was it? Thompson countered, his gaze fixed on Juno. Tell me everything you know about Mnemosyne. Juno hesitated, her face etched with worry. The Council suppressed all information about it for a reason, Thompson. It delved into areas of the mind that are best left undisturbed. It could unravel the very fabric of consciousness. Suddenly, the lights flickered and died. The holographic displays went dark. Alarms blared. Sabotage. Juno cried, spinning around, her hand instinctively reaching for a discarded energy pistol. The Council. They don't want us to know the truth about Mnemosyne. Thompson moved swiftly, positioning himself between Juno and the lab entrance. Davies, report. Admiral, we've lost power in this section. Security breach detected. I'm rerouting power and sending a security team. Thompson turned to Juno, his expression grim. I can protect you, Juno, but I need you to trust me. Earth's children, their future. It depends on this. Juno looked into Thompson's eyes, seeing the unwavering commitment, the genuine concern. She saw the weight of responsibility he carried, the burden of a past he couldn't escape. With a deep breath, she made her decision. All right, Thompson, she said, her voice firm. I'll share the full Mnemosyne data with you, but you need to understand the risks. This could unleash something far more terrifying than we can imagine. Juno accessed a hidden partition in her console, bypassing the Council's security protocols. Lines of code cascaded across the screen, revealing the long-suppressed secrets of Mnemosyne. Within the data, they found a potential vulnerability in the attacker's technology. There, Juno pointed to a specific sequence. A resonance frequency. It disrupts their erasing field. Can we weaponize it? Thompson asked, his eyes gleaming with hope. Yes, but Juno hesitated, her face troubled. Using this frequency, it could have unintended consequences, memory loss, brain damage. We're talking about potentially wiping minds, Thompson. Thompson's fists tight. What are the chances? Difficult to quantify. The Mnemosyne project was unstable, unpredictable. It's a gamble, Thompson, a terrible gamble. We're out of options, Juno, Thompson said, his voice low. We modify our weapons to target this frequency. We take the gamble. He paused, then added, inform the Prilorian Council about our findings. Request permission to use the frequency weapon. A tense silence filled the lab as they waited for the Council's response. Finally, a holographic image of a stern-faced Prilorian elder materialized before them. Admiral Thompson, Scientist Juno, the elder said, his voice cold and dismissive. The Council has reviewed your findings. We vehemently reject your proposal. You are tampering with forbidden knowledge, endangering the entire galaxy with your recklessness. Cease your research immediately. Thompson stared at the elder, his expression hardening. With all due respect, Elder, we're talking about the survival of entire civilizations. We have a weapon that can stop these attackers. The risks are too great, the Elder retorted. Mnemosyne was deemed too dangerous for a reason. We will not allow you to unleash its horrors upon the galaxy. The transmission ended abruptly. Thompson turned to Juno, his eyes blazing with defiance. They won't let us use it. Fine, we'll do it ourselves. He turned to Davies. Davies, prepare for unsanctioned weapon modification. I want every ship in the fleet retrofitted with a frequency emitter. We're going to save those children, Juno, council or no council. He gripped the edge of the console, fingers tightening, his gaze fixed on the data stream. We're out of time. Thompson turned from the holographic display, his face etched with grim commitment. I want all available missile platforms retrofitted to emit the Mnemosyne frequency. Engineering, begin immediately. Chief Engineer Reyes, a woman whose hands seemed permanently stained with grease and plasma residue, stepped forward, her brow furrowed. Admiral, with all due respect, this frequency is untested. We're talking about potentially catastrophic side effects. We don't fully understand what it does, only that it seems to disrupt something that makes those creatures erase children from existence, Thompson countered, his voice low but firm. He met Ray's gaze, his own reflecting the weight of countless sleepless nights. I understand the risks, Chief, but the potential casualties if we do nothing, they're far greater. We're talking about Earth's future, our children, make it happen. Across the void on the Prilorian homeworld, Juno navigated the sterile corridors of the research facility. The hum of advanced technology, once a comforting symphony, now felt like a mocking chorus. Her colleagues averted their eyes, their whispers following her like shadows. The communal mess hall, usually a place of lively debate, fell silent as she entered. Trays clattered a little too loudly. There she is, a voice hissed behind her, filled with venom. The human lover. Another voice, softer but no less cutting, replied, sharing our secrets with those primitives. She's a traitor. The Prilorian Council's summons arrived as a shimmering data packet, delivered by a silent, unblinking drone. The message was terse. Report to the Council chambers immediately. Charges of treason and galactic endangerment have been filed. The Council chambers were a symphony of polished obsidian and pulsating energy fields. Juno stood before the assembled Council members, their faces impassive, their eyes like chips of ice. Juno of the Xantus lineage, the Council speaker intoned, his voice amplified and distorted by the chamber's acoustics. You stand accused of violating Prilorian law, specifically the unauthorized sharing of classified technology with the Terran species. Furthermore, your actions are deemed to have endangered the safety and stability of the galactic community. Juno straightened her shoulders, her voice ringing with conviction. Honorable counselors, I acted in what I believe to be the best interests of Prylos and of the galaxy. These attackers, they are not merely conquering, they are erasing. Erasing history, erasing knowledge, erasing life. They are a threat to Earth, yes, but they are also a threat to us, to everything. The speaker remained unmoved. Your arguments are irrelevant. You have broken the law. The Council finds you guilty. You are hereby placed under house arrest, effective immediately. All research privileges are revoked. You are forbidden from contacting any members of the Terran species. Back on Earth, Thompson received the news of Juno's arrest with a surge of fury. He contacted the Prilorian Council representative, his voice tight with barely suppressed rage. Counselor Valerius, I demand an explanation. Juno was instrumental in deciphering the attacker's technology. Her arrest is a blatant obstruction of justice. Valerius's image flickered on the screen, his expression carefully neutral. Admiral Thompson, I assure you, the Council is acting within its rights. Juno's actions were reckless and unauthorized. She is responsible for her own predicament. Undeterred by the Council's opposition, Thompson doubled down on the weapon modification efforts. The engineers worked around the clock, their faces illuminated by the flickering glow of plasma torches and diagnostic displays. Supply lines strained under the pressure, forcing them to cannibalize parts from decommissioned ships and experimental prototypes. "Admiral," Reyes said, her voice tight with concern, "we've hit a snag. The Mnemosyne frequency. It seems to destabilize the Prilorian alloy used in their ship hulls. It's like it's attacking the very structure of their material." A flicker of something akin to triumph crossed Thompson's face, quickly replaced by a look of unshakable focus. The frequency was effective, more so than he had hoped, but the implications were chilling. He could cripple the Prilorian fleet with a single volley. "Install a dampening field on all our ships," he ordered, his voice firm. "Minimize the frequency's effect on Prilorian vessels. It will reduce our attack strength, but we will not target our allies." A coded message flashed across Thompson's private comm channel. It was from Juno. "Beware, serpent in your nest." Thompson initiated a full security sweep, his heart pounding in his chest. The digital dragnet tightened, sifting through encrypted communications, personnel files, and surveillance logs. The evidence pointed to a trusted officer, Commander Marcus Thorne, a man who had served alongside Thompson for years. "I'm doing this for Earth, Admiral," Thorne said, his face pale but resolute as security personnel moved to apprehend him. "You're blinded by your affection for that alien. She's playing you. The Prilorians will never truly trust us. This weapon, it's too dangerous to unleash." Before he could be fully subdued, Thorne activated a hidden transmitter, sending a burst of encrypted data to the Prilorian Council. Moments later, a chilling message arrived from Valerius. "Admiral Thompson, your deception is revealed. The Prilorian fleet is en route to intercept your ships. Prepare for war." In the Nevada desert, under cover of darkness, the first Mnemosyne-modified missile stood poised on its launch platform. Technicians scurried around, making final adjustments. Thompson watched from the command bunker, his face a mask of apprehension. "Firing in 3, 2, 1, fire." The missile roared to life, leaving a trail of fire in its wake. As it streaked across the sky, a wave of energy pulsed outwards, invisible but palpable. Inside the bunker, the lights flickered, then died. Emergency generators sputtered, then fell silent. The entire testing range plunged into darkness, the silence broken only by the crackling of static on the comms. Red laser fire crisscrossed the void, carving streaks across the obsidian canvas where stars once serenely shone. The Prilorian ambush had been swift, brutal. "Report," Thompson barked, his voice tight, barely audible over the klaxons wailing through the bridge of the Dauntless. "Shields at 60%, Admiral. Port Nacelle taking heavy fire. Return fire. All batteries target their lead frigate. Launch Mnemosyne missiles." The Mnemosyne missiles, humanity's desperate gamble, streaked toward the Prilorian fleet, their quantum disruptors designed to cripple their crystalline technology. They detonated in bursts of shimmering energy, and for a heartbeat, the Prilorian ships faltered. But then a wave of static crashed over the Dauntless, silencing the comms. "Admiral, we've lost contact with the fleet," Lieutenant Park shouted, his fingers flying across the console. "The Mnemosyne frequency. It's interfering with our own systems." Thompson swore under his breath. "Damn it. They adapted faster than we predicted." He clutched the armrest, his fist clenched. "Helm, evasive maneuvers, tactical retreat. Use the disruption to our advantage. Get us out of this kill zone." The Dauntless lurched, dodging a barrage of emerald energy bolts. Thompson knew this wasn't a victory. It was barely survival. Meanwhile, deep within the Prilorian capital, Juno, her crystalline form dull with despair, watched the battle unfold on a smuggled data slate. She had to warn them, the Mnemosyne frequency. It wasn't just disrupting their systems, it was being amplified. A flicker of movement caught her eye. A Prylorian guard, his face etched with a mixture of fear and sympathy, unlocked her cell. "Go," he whispered, his voice barely audible. "They won't listen to me, but maybe you can still save them." Juno didn't hesitate. She slipped past him and raced through the corridors, her bare feet echoing on the crystalline floors. Reaching a secure comm terminal, she routed a message through a series of encrypted channels, hoping it would reach the human fleet. "Admiral Thompson," her voice crackled through the Dauntless's restored comms, "the Mnemosyne frequency. It's being amplified by your enemy's shields. The Prylorian shielding technology is resonating with your weapon. It is creating a feedback loop." Thompson's eyes widened. "Amplified? What does that mean?" "It means," Juno continued, her voice urgent, "that you can overload their shields. Focus the Mnemosyne frequency, concentrate your fire on their shield arrays. It will cause a cascade effect, crippling their systems." Thompson didn't waste a second. "All ships, reconfigure targeting protocols. Focus Mnemosyne missiles on Prylorian shield arrays. Let's give them a taste of their own medicine." The Dauntless shuddered as the modified missiles launched, their quantum disruptors now focused with pinpoint accuracy. This time, the effect was devastating. Prylorian shields flared, overloaded, and collapsed, taking vital systems with them. Ships spun out of control, venting atmosphere and debris. But the Prylorian fleet, driven by orders from the Council and their ingrained distrust of humanity, pressed their attack, regardless of the damage. They were determined to wipe out the human fleet, even if it meant their own destruction. Then a chilling message blared across the comms. "Urgent transmission from Earth Command. Code Omega, I repeat, Code Omega. Major attacker offensive detected targeting Earth. Multiple cities under attack." A collective gasp filled the bridge. Thompson felt a cold dread grip his heart. Earth. But the nightmare didn't end there. Another message followed, this one from a Prylorian colony. "We are under attack. The Erasers. They are here, requesting immediate assistance." The Prylorian ships, upon receiving the message, immediately broke off their attack and turned towards their home systems, leaving the battered human fleet behind. Thompson watched them go, his face grim. "Report," he said, his voice flat. "Shields at 20%, Admiral. Hull breaches on decks 4 through 7, casualties. Heavy." The Dauntless was crippled but alive. A few hours later, a small transport ship approached the Dauntless. Aboard was Juno, her crystalline form shimmering with renewed perseverance. "Admiral Thompson," she said, stepping onto the bridge, "I have new data on the attackers. I know how to stop them." She projected a holographic display of the attacker ships, highlighting a complex energy matrix. "Their shields. They are vulnerable to a specific energy harmonic, a harmonic that can only be exploited using a combination of human mathematics and Prylorian amplification technology." Thompson studied the display, his mind racing. Human mathematics, Prylorian amplification. It was an insane idea, but it was their only hope. He looked at Juno, her eyes shining with conviction. "Helm," he ordered, his voice resolute, "plot a course. We're diverting from Earth." "Sir," Lieutenant Park asked, his voice incredulous. "But Earth is under attack. Earth has its defenses," Thompson replied, his gaze unwavering. "We're going to the source. We're going to cut off the head of the snake, set a course for the primary attacker staging point." News of Thompson's decision reached the Prylorian Council. The attack on their colonies, coupled with Juno's data, had shaken their faith in their own superiority. A faction began to question their long-held prejudices, realizing the scope of the threat and Juno's importance. The tide was turning. Then a message arrived from a Prylorian warship. "To Admiral Thompson of the human fleet," a voice said, crackling with static, "we are defying orders from the Council. We believe Juno. We will stand with you. We will fight with you." Hope flickered in Thompson's eyes. He wasn't alone. The combined Earth and Prylorian fleet, a patchwork of battered ships and newfound tenacity, approached the attacker's staging point. Sensors indicated a large nebula, swirling with dark energy. Admiral, Juno said, her voice tight with anticipation, the nebula. It's a camouflage, maintained by an energy field, vulnerable to a specific mnemosony harmonic. She inputted the frequency into the Dauntless's targeting system. This harmonic, it should disrupt the energy field, clearing away the nebula. Thompson took a deep breath. Fire. The Dauntless unleashed a burst of energy tuned to Juno's harmonic frequency. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the nebula began to shimmer, to dissipate. Patches of darkness cleared, revealing a vast fleet, an armada of alien ships unlike anything they had ever seen before. A fleet so large it dwarfed both the Earth and Prylorian forces combined. A fleet that had been hidden, waiting, ready to erase them all. The combined fleet surged forward, a unified force against the swirling nebula. The mnemosony harmonic, amplified by Prylorian resonators, ripped through the camouflage, revealing the full horror of the attacker fleet. Hundreds of ships, each a dark, flickering void in space. All ships execute Juno's frequency. Thompson barked, his voice tight with anticipation. Let's see how they like a taste of their own medicine. A wave of energy, precisely tuned by Juno, washed over the attacker ships. On the Thunder's bridge, tactical displays showed the enemy vessels convulsing, their energy matrices destabilizing. Cascading failures rippled through their ranks like a virus infecting a network. Earth ships, focus fire on weak points. Thompson ordered. Prylorian vessels, maintain cover and amplify the signal. Let's keep the pressure on. But the attackers were not so easily defeated. Within moments, their energy signatures shifted, adapting to the mnemosony frequency. Shields flared, deflecting the harmonic, and their weapons' fire intensified, tearing through the void. They're adapting. Juno shouted, her fingers flying across the console. Their matrix is reconfiguring. We need another approach, and fast. Thompson gripped the command chair, his mind racing. He scanned the tactical data, searching for an opening. Juno, can we use their own technology against them? Create a feedback loop, overload their system from within. Juno hesitated, her brow furrowed. It's possible, but highly unstable. Interfacing with their systems is risky. We don't know what it will do. We don't have a choice, Thompson said grimly. Adapt the Prylorian interface. Let's give them a taste of their own medicine. Juno worked feverishly, rerouting power, recalibrating frequencies, pushing the Prylorian technology to its absolute limit. The bridge hummed with impossibly strong energy as she linked the interface to a captured attacker module. Ready, she announced, her voice strained. But I don't know what will happen. This could overload the entire ship. Do it, Thompson said, his gaze unwavering. For Earth, for the children. Juno initiated the sequence. A pulse of energy shot from the Prylorian interface, lancing into the heart of the captured module. The attacker ship shuddered violently, its lights flickering erratically. Then a wave of energy erupted from within, tearing through its hull. The effect was instantaneous. The feedback loop cascaded through the attacker fleet like a chain reaction. Ships exploded in silent bursts of energy, their forms dissolving into nothingness. As the battle raged, a chilling transmission was intercepted. It revealed the attackers' motive. They were not conquerors, but sterilizers. A species dedicated to maintaining a stagnant galactic order by eliminating any species capable of disruptive innovation. They saw humanity's boundless curiosity and adaptability as a threat, a virus that could destabilize their carefully constructed reality. And children, with their innate capacity for learning and change, were the primary target. Further analysis revealed that the attackers had seeded other worlds with similar sterilization technology, targeting the young and vulnerable. They're not just attacking, Juno whispered, her voice filled with horror. They're erasing. Thompson's willpower hardened. Earth ships break through the remaining attackers, locate the prison complex, rescue those children. Human ships, fueled by righteous fury, tore through the remaining attackers, their weapons blazing. They located the prison complex, a massive, dark structure hidden within the nebula. Marines stormed the complex, their weapons drawn. Inside, they found rows upon rows of stasis pods, each containing a child from Earth and other worlds, their life force slowly being drained. The rescue operation was swift and decisive. The children were extracted, their bodies weak but alive. Earth ships, equipped with advanced medical technology, began the painstaking process of restoring them to health. Prelorian ships destroyed the seeding technology, preventing it from spreading further. Back on the Thunder, the Prelorian Council transmitted a formal apology to Juno, acknowledging her contributions and reinstating her status. Their voices were filled with remorse and gratitude. "Juno," the elder counselor said, his image flickering on the screen, "we were wrong. You saw the truth when we were blind. We are in your debt." Days later, on a neutral world, Earth and Prelorian representatives signed a formal alliance. They pledged to share knowledge and resources, to stand together against future threats, and to seek out the seeded worlds, preventing further attacks. Adam and Juno stood together on the bridge of the Thunder, gazing out at the combined fleet, a symbol of hope against the darkness. "It's just the beginning, isn't it?" Juno said softly, her eyes reflecting the light of the distant stars. "It is," Adam replied, a hint of a smile playing on his lips. "But we'll face it together." He looked at Juno, seeing not just a brilliant scientist, but a courageous ally, a kindred spirit. Their hands brushed, a silent promise of a future forged in shared purpose and growing affection. The galaxy was vast and full of unknowns, but for the first time in a long time, Adam felt a flicker of hope. They had faced the darkness and emerged stronger together. The Death Fleet had become a fleet of hope.